you. I'm Rose Viscardi, and I'm a professor of pediatrics and medicine, and as what I used to do in my real life was be a neonatologist. As you might have gathered, I am retiring on January 1st. I've been the program director for the KL2 program, for the joint program with Hopkins. And I am passing this wonderful opportunity on to Dr. Christy Chang, who has been the director for the internal KL2 program. So she's been very involved since the beginning, and so I'm putting it into very good hands. So maybe Dr. Chang, you could tell a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll go to Grazie.
Hey, hi, good morning. I'm Christy Chan. As Rose said, I will take over the program starting in January. Currently, I'm the director for the internal KL2 program, and I'm an associate professor in Department of Medicine, Biochemistry, Molecular Biology, and Epidemiology in Public Health. And I work on genetics of complex disease. So maybe Grazie can introduce herself next.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Grazie Khalil. I'm assistant professor in the School of Medicine. I'm the associate director for both the KL2 and the TL1 programs. And if you have any questions, you can email the navigator or also my email about the KL2 program or any other program within the educational and career development.
Yeah, and I would say too, you know, if you move forward, or you're planning on moving forward with applying to this opportunity, and if you just have any questions about anything about the process, you really can contact any of us, and we'd be happy to discuss it with you. So let's go around and introduce, if the panelists would be so kind as to introduce themselves, let us know what school and department you're in, and maybe how long you've been at the University of Maryland and how you found out about the program. Let's see, we can go right down the participant list. Brenna, you can all unmute, and it'd be nice to see your faces if you wouldn't mind.
I can unmute, but I would prefer not to turn on the camera at the moment, if that's okay.
Okay. No problem.
But I'll try to remember to cover everything that you just said. So I'm an assistant professor with the Department of Medicine, infectious diseases more specifically. I've been with the University of Maryland. I came there because of fellowship, so I guess it's been a little over 5 years now in total. And is that everything?
Oh, how did you find out about the program?
Oh, just through emails, because I'm interested in like research. I've been working more internationally, and just from people I've been working with, I found out through them. Actually, even last year, but I wasn't feeling ready, so I'm trying to get to a place where I'm maybe more ready to apply.
Okay, so sort of word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Sometimes that's the best way to find out about things. Who else just came in here? And Jandu.
Hello, everybody. Name is Jiandu. I'm from the neurosurgery department. I have been in the UMB 4 years, and first I'm postdoc, and recently I'm the research associate. So it's just searching every opportunity to see, to get funded and for my next career. So I don't really remember the anime. It's from the email I got the message from the program, but I'm not quite sure which email comes from. But yeah, I think it's a very great opportunity. Thank you so much.
Great. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Julia. Everybody's in their pajamas.
I'll start. Hi, I'm Julia Terhune. I'm assistant professor in Department of Surgery. I did my training here, left for fellowship, and then came back a little over a year ago. I've had, I found out, I think just really perusing the website and just seeing what sort of research opportunities were available that might kind of fit into kind of under my purview. And this seems like something that would kind of help get things off the ground and kind of really needing that mentored setting to balance between the clinical demands of surgery and trying to balance with research. I feel that what Brenna said, how she's attended last year or thought about it last year, I'm certainly not prepared this cycle, but trying to just understand the process so that potentially in a year could start thinking about, or I guess at least next cycle, about applying.
Yeah, we'll be sure to try to address, there are some issues specific to applicants from surgical subspecialties that, you know, want to at least make sure that you're aware of and as you do your thinking. And Mark?
Hi, everybody. So I'm Mark Havarda. I'm a fourth-year psychiatry resident in the research track. I first came to Maryland 12 years ago for the MD PhD program. I stayed for psychiatry residency. And my residency will be finishing this year. And I'm hoping to stay, planning to stay at Maryland as assistant professor.
Okay. All right. So you're going to be transitioning to faculty.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of applying this year, or this is sort of more informational for maybe sometime in the future?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't remember quite what all the requirements are. I think I came to this meeting last year and it was like clearly too early. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll come back later.
Wow. All right. You want to be hit. So let's see.
Rose, can I just add something real quick to everyone? I'm hearing that people are seeing things by word of mouth, maybe email, maybe website. One thing that you might really want to consider is subscribing to the Elm Weekly on the campus. That's coming through the UMB website, the main campus website, where you can actually register, and a Monday morning email comes out with a lot of activities that the campus is involved in, the various schools, and certainly the ICTR. We post a lot of our opportunities, funding opportunities, whether it's an ATIP, the pilot grants that we announce once a year, and then any of the training awards, as well as, if you look at the website, we also offer a voucher program. There's a lot of cores of services that are available through the ICTR. And so it's here to help with our faculty, particularly our junior faculty.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I think one of the reasons we asked how you heard about the program is we're trying to find good ways to reach people about these opportunities. And it's, it's a very big campus, multiple schools, and any faculty who's eligible for the award from any of the schools can apply. So it's not just a School of Medicine, for instance, program. So it is a little daunting, and I think the pandemic and people teleworking and being very appropriately distracted by sometimes their clinical work. We were a little concerned whether the message was getting out there. So thank you for sharing how you did find out about it. I think at least from those initial comments, it sounds like one of the questions would be who's eligible for the program. And so you just have to have, those eligibility criteria are listed on the funding opportunity announcement, the FOA, which is the description of the program. And you have to be you have to have a doctoral degree, pretty broadly, and either within 5 years of your faculty appointment. So some of you said you had been here for various number of years, starting with your training. So it's really not how long you've been at Maryland per se, but just your faculty appointment. For someone like Mark, who is in their last year of training and then starting as a faculty member, You also can apply. The major thing is your department can't make your appointment to the KL2 program a requirement for you to get the job. So that that has to be a separate thing. But yes, you would, if there's have made you an offer for faculty appointment, and there also has to be a commitment by your division or department to cover your the expenses of supporting your third year, or at least your salary, 75% of your, and protecting 75% of your time. So it's a 3-year program. The first 2 are supported by the KL2 program, but the 3rd year, we request that support to come from the department. That's sort of their commitment to supporting you. And that has to be stated in your nominating letter. So I don't know if any of that generated some questions or you had some additional questions, but feel free to either, if you prefer to just type them in the Q&A box, that's fine. But you also can just unmute and ask your questions.
A question regarding relationship to like applying for a K award. I remember like there's like if you're applying for a K award in the same cycle, that's not allowed? Is that right?
That is correct. It's probably the best strategy is, you know, if you want to, you know, you're already preparing a K, is go ahead and apply for the KL2 first. It's both NIH money. Is the so you can't double dip into the you can't have 2 applications for the same thing being submitted for NIH support is basically the reason for that. Can't have both going at the same time, but you can submit the K23 subsequently. And in fact, if you become or if you're selected as the KL2 scholar, there is an expectation that you will submit an individual K sometime in your 3 years, preferably sometime within those first 2 years. But no, you can't, if you already have one submitted, you can't, and that's still under review, you cannot submit a KL2 application. I don't know if that's a situation for any of you.
Right. But you don't have to be a KL2 scholars all 3 years. While you're a KL2 scholar, if you get a K award, then you exit the program. But our job is to make sure you are as prepared as possible and as competitive as possible nationally to get that K award or another award.
And for Julia, so for surgical subspecialty, in general, the expectation is that you have to commit 75% of your time to the KL2 scholarship activities, but surgical subspecialties can, they're allowed to reduce that effort to 50%, recognizing that they might need to keep their clinical skills current. Doesn't say you have to request 50%, it just says you can. I would still encourage you to you know, this 75% is protected time is ideal, and that's been, you know, shown over and over again that insufficient protected time is often a reason why people aren't successful. So protected time is like one of the most valuable aspects of the program, I would say. And you might want to talk to Janet Alexander, who's a pediatric ophthalmologist. She's our first KL2 scholar. She's in her 2nd year. And she can kind of maybe tell you how that's been working out as far as maintaining her clinical practice, as well as the KL2 scholar position. And for who was in ID? Is it Brenna? You're in ID, I think.
Yes.
It's too early in the morning for me. And Lydia Tang, who is in the Institute of Human Virology. I don't know if you know Lydia, but she's our first year KL2 scholar. So both of those individuals, I'm sure, would be happy to talk about their experience applying and, you know, what it's been like being in the they are both in the master's clinical science program. Have any of you thought about your, so one of the other goals of the program is to get a master's degree. If you already have like an MPH or something, then that you can also propose coursework, specific coursework for your tailored to your program. Do you have any questions about that aspect?
So yeah, we would say an ideal candidate is somebody who have a small deficit in their training to be a full-fledged clinical researcher, and that could be remedied by doing a master or a certificate program. So a lot of current candidates is getting a master in clinical translational sciences, and some of them are getting a certificate in dissemination science, and those are all popular choices and well aligned with ICTR's long-term goals for promoting clinical research on this campus. But it could be any, there's a very long list of master's program and certificate program that will qualify. And so the one that works for you, that's, you know, it could be you're a clinician, you need some basic science research, or you could be a basic scientist who needs some additional research on study designs for clinical trials, for examples, and other things.
Dr. Viscardi, we have some more folks. That
I see that. Yeah.
So
So Merrick, you've returned. Would you mind unmuting and just introducing yourself and what department you're from and how you heard about the program, the KL2 program?
Yeah, surely. I'm from the School of Nursing, Family Community Health. I've been eyeing the KL2 program for at least a year or more, trying to identify the right mentorship team, though, has been a struggle. And I think I'm there. So I was just going to ask just to emphasize that it is okay to put together coursework training package if kind of say comparative effectiveness and behavioral economics and is it kind of in addition to one of the programs offered through University of Maryland and other coursework? You have to do a University of Maryland certificate or program and then you can do other programs, or is it you don't specifically have to do a University of Maryland certificate?
So Grazia, you want to maybe address that one? I think the issue is the cost. So the tuition is covered for any University of Maryland program, but if you take coursework elsewhere, then you know, that is not covered. So you would have to figure out how you would cover the cost of tuition and fees costs associated with that. I would say that, you know, there are pretty extensive offerings through the graduate school. So I would kind of be sure that you really have looked at what all those opportunities might be and whether that meets your needs. And also, if you don't intend to pursue a master's degree, to really provide a justification. Like for most people, it would be because they already have one. If you already have, the idea here is, part of the idea of having the 75% protected time is that it'll allow you to pursue advanced degrees that will make you better trained, but also more competitive for extramural funding. So I think I would really encourage you to really think about whether a master's program would be beneficial to your future activities, but it clearly will be a benefit to you in being competitive for extramural funding.
Got it. Thanks.
So I wanted to add that you are also going to have some funding for research, and then some of it, if you could be allocated to pay for a course that's not offered by Maryland. So, but it's not a large budget, and the best way to get additional training is through your faculty tuition remission. So, so keep that in mind. But courses that's offered elsewhere, especially online courses, or those could be comfortably fitting your budget, are not totally impossible, but they just have to really make sense to your career goal and your background. So it's not we don't require people to do a master just to do a master. The whole story had to make sense.
Right. And Megan, can you address that about whether they are allowed to budget for external courses?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit tricky. So the external courses, like a normal semester course that you would take over a full semester, we would not be able to pay for outside of UMB, but we have had some postdocs that will budget for like a 3-day course that they're taking at Hopkins. One of our postdocs right now is taking a couple workshops at Hopkins that they were able to budget for and that we're able to pay for. So there's like an exception to the rule. If it's for a program, a certificate, a master's, and it's, a full semester, then we can only pay for UMB. But if it's for like a special kind of workshop or which I think the postdoc that we have had budgeted for like 3 different ones, and they were like 3-day workshops, and we allowed that. So it just depends.
Megan, do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Hi, no, sorry I was late. I couldn't find the link. So my name's Megan. I'm the administrative director of the ICTR and the GCRC, the General Clinical Research Center. And I work with the scholars to, help with the budgeting and financing and what we can charge to the grant and what we can't. So nice to see you all.
Great. And I see Gloria, Dr. Reeves joined us.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, my internet's not great in a work building today, so I don't have my camera on, otherwise I'll probably lose you again. So hi, I'm just here to get some information. So I'm a research vice chair in Department of Psychiatry and was a recipient of the K-12 award through University of Maryland, so a big believer in this training mechanism. So appreciate everybody's expertise and time.
Great. Did you have any specific questions, Gloria?
No, it sounds pretty pretty consistent with the approach generally of a career development award. Is there, I don't know if I missed at the beginning, is there a priority area at all in terms of any content focus or?
No, only that it should be patient-oriented research.
Okay.
And it's pretty well defined in the FOA. So pretty broadly actually. So it's really that, as you have experienced when you went through this, it's really about, the candidate having a promising trajectory, and you know, a mentor with a track record, you know, mentoring team, and then a, you know, proposal that you know, looks like it's a you know, interesting project, and that's been well thought out, and an education program that you know, makes sense, that supports that whole project. So it's the entire package put together. And maybe, Gloria, since you went through this, could you comment on the, you know, sort of the benefits of, you know, the protected time, and what elements of the training program was beneficial to your career?
Yeah, so I think for me, the most beneficial thing is when I went through the K program is that there was a requirement for us to meet regularly. And I think that makes a big difference, having a cohort of career development awardees together, really supportive, and it really helped kind of make sure that you stick with those short-term deadlines. I think when you're a busy clinician, it's so hard to you know, get all those milestones done because there's always a million patients to see and other things. So it really kind of helped remind you about the protected time is important, and to troubleshoot some of the challenges with being able to achieve research goals and objectives. So to me, it was very supportive to do it here as an internal K, and to be able to meet with other trainees along the way.
You know, thank you for bringing that up. I think that peer support that's provided by being part of a cohort, and the important part about the the KL2 program, it is a joint program with Hopkins. So the cohort actually extends to the scholars over at Hopkins, and we have monthly joint conferences that involve all the cohort. So it's so instead of it just being the, you know, the one or two scholars in the CTSA program, but our internal scholars as well as the scholars at Hopkins. And they do, I do think there's a fair amount of bonding that goes on, and support among the group that I think is very positive and very helpful. I would also suggest to those participants here today who maybe not sure they're going to go for it this year and might think about it the next year or two, but there is an opportunity to participate in a pre-K program through the Office of Research and Career Development. So that would still be worth to participate in their program, because again, there's some peer support with that, as well as a lot of scientific leadership seminars and things like that that can be very helpful towards your career development.
So Rose, as a child psychiatrist, I love anything that's called pre-K program. Is that something that's open to anybody who wants to participate, or are there any eligibility requirements, or do you have to apply to join that group?
For the pre-K? No, I think you just have to contact Stacy Mendoza in the office. And I think there has to be, you know, some intent down the road to apply for a K, either individual or for this internal programs.
Yes, I might add that once a year, Mary Shiver from the Office of Career Development Program runs a course, like a small group grant writing course for people writing K awards. And so it takes you through all the steps. And then, so if you want something more organized, that's a great option for junior faculties. And there's also the club, as Rose mentioned, that have lots of seminars specifically tailored for junior faculty at this stage in their career. So a lot of grant writing issue, productivity issue, mentoring issues are all addressed.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. We were supposed to finish up at 10 o'clock, but I wanted to see if anyone had any final questions that we could address. And certainly, if there's any additional questions that this Q&A just raised, or as you review the FOA, you have additional questions, feel free to either email through the ICTR Navigator, or you can contact any of us directly.
I just want to add a couple more things regarding the Office of Research Career Development. I know that's kind of under the School of Medicine, but it's available to anyone on the campus. So don't shy away from that. Also on the ICTR website, we have a previous recording. If you want to take a moment and review that, that was the very first session, and there is a PowerPoint that's included with that YouTube presentation. But you certainly can send additional questions to the ICTR Navigator email, and we're happy to answer those.
Absolutely. All right. Any final words of wisdom, Christy or Grazie or Megan?
I remember the first section we did, there were some very good questions about mentoring teams and also about independence. And so if you have any, when you're developing your packets, if you have questions about that, definitely hit us with questions, but you can also listen to the recording.
Yeah, your mentoring team, your mentor and your mentoring team is really important. And again, as you put together your mentoring team, you want to do that in such a way that, you know, it makes sense. So you'll want to provide a justification for why you're including particular people on your mentoring team. There should be at least a primary mentor. You can certainly have a co-mentor. And usually a team of about 3 people is probably about right. And again, you want to make sure that all those individuals are aware that, you know, that they've agreed to be a member of your team. And your mentor has to write a letter, a nominating letter. Great. Okay. Well, I think we appreciate you all getting up early this morning and participating with us today and telling us a little bit about how you found out about us. Again, go ahead and spread the word. We encourage you to apply, even those who are kind of thinking about it this year. You can, we've encouraged folks who have applied previously who didn't get selected, that they can reapply as long as they're still eligible. So I would suggest if it's really okay to go ahead and put together an application. You'll get feedback regardless, and that might help you with putting in a more competitive application subsequently. So I wouldn't put it off. I certainly wouldn't wait until like your last year of eligibility, because then if you didn't get selected, you're kind of, you know, wouldn't be eligible the following year. So even if you don't think you're entirely ready,